Good morning guys, it's level 4 lockdown for the coronavirus here in Melbourne. I'm doing my 1 hour exercise. We're allowed out for 1 hour each day. Now I've got myself a 7-Eleven coffee. I just love these coffees. My wife doesn't like me drinking them. She thinks I'll catch COVID if I go to a 7-Eleven, but I love my morning coffee. In today's video, I'm going to take you through the entire process of printing the second edition of my Melbourne photography book. I'm going to take you through the design, the payment, how to pay a supplier overseas, how to use a foreign exchange payment system, and how to get the products into the country, getting them off the docks, getting them into my house, the whole process. So if you're interested in printing your own photography book, come along with me for the journey. Let's go. So when you take on the decision to print your own photography book, you need to basically be a small printing house. You need to have obviously a business registration number. That's different in every country. In Australia it's an ABN or an ACN, and you need to go through all the headaches that is bringing in your own product into the country. So the first thing you want to do when designing a print book is use a design program. Now the design program I recommend is InDesign. There's a bunch of different ones out there, but InDesign is a subscription based program through Adobe. I think it's about 30 Australian dollars per month, and you can subscribe for just the 1 month that you need the program, then unsubscribe. So it doesn't cost you ongoing. You just subscribe for the period of time that you need it. Now once you've designed your book, then you'll need to create a higher resolution PDF that's in 300 dpi, and you'll need to allow for some bleed. Now bleed is the extra space around the edge of the design, and usually the printing house will advise you that they'll need something like a 3mm bleed, or maybe even a bit higher, like 5 or 6mm bleed. What that's used for is basically when they print the pages, they need something to hold onto with the machines, then they cut off the edge, and it's technical stuff, but you'll need to design the book with bleed in mind, okay? And when you export the PDF, you need to export the bleed settings into the PDF when you send that to the printer. Now, the next step is you need to source a printing house. Now, the one that I found was simply through doing a Google search, and I found these guys about 9 years ago, and I'll put a link to them in the description below. And these are a printing house in China. Now, I will say that I'm currently researching my next printing house in South Korea because I'm actually not that happy with the printing house I found in China. And if you follow along through this video, you'll see why I've come to that decision. Now, when I find my next printing house in Korea, I'll be sure to link that in this video description below, retrospectively down the line when I find that printing house. So let's get started into the project, guys. It's a fairly lengthy video, this one, but it definitely will help you with some insights into how to print your photography book. Now, if you find a supplier that's outside of your country and they deal in a different currency, you'll need to engage a service like OFX. Now, OFX is a really good website. I've been referred to these guys from someone I know who works in the finance sector, and he was able to vouch for the authenticity of this company. The way it works is you'll deposit money into an OFX bank account. They'll then take a small percentage of that and they'll send the rest over to a nominated bank account in another country. It's really simple, it's really straightforward. You can set up either a business or a personal account. In my situation, I have a business account, but you can totally do it yourself with a personal account, and the security was really strong. When I did my first transfer to Hong Kong, they rang me up from Sydney and they said, look, we're just checking that there's a transfer going from your account to Hong Kong, is that okay? And I said, yeah, that's totally fine. And then I did another transfer to Cambodia, and they said, oh, look, we've just noticed a new transfer to a new account in Cambodia. Is that you? Is that all legitimate? And I said, yeah, that's totally fine. So it's really good security, guys. I can't vouch for OFX enough. I don't have any sort of affiliate with them or any sort of discount code, but if you just jump online and sign up with them, I can tell you that they are a legitimate company and they are worthwhile dealing with. So here we are, guys. This has just arrived from China via courier. Thank you, DHL. Now this is the what they call a digital copy. It's basically a soft copy. The binding isn't the same as what the final will be. The paper isn't the same, but it's basically like a cheaper copy, okay? So they essentially use a different printer than the one they will use for my full print, okay? Let's open this together and see the good, the bad and the ugly. This is always a nervous time. Hopefully all is intact. Last time the contrast was a little bit too strong. They crushed the blacks a bit. So you can see here it's in a cardboard wrap, so they've done quite a good job. They've protected it very well. I should say that this only took maybe a week at the most to arrive. So here we have, it's in a secondary protective package. So I've torn the dust jacket, that's alright. Let's go about this like a 5-year-old child. I'll just tear it off. Okay. So here we are. If you can see that in the light as the camera just adjusts exposure. They've done a pretty good job on the cover. The dust jacket, that is. The dimensions are spot on, except for the little tear I gave to it just there. You can see, that's alright. So this is a digital print. Let's have a look together. Yeah, so the amount of overlap is good. I designed that on InDesign, Adobe InDesign, and you can see the overlap that runs around and on the inside. Okay, so there's enough overlap. A common mistake, guys, is you don't include enough overlap here, and essentially this keeps falling off. So include a good 50% of the page width as overlap, okay? So that goes right around, and then the same on the back side, right? Now, the big opening. Okay, here we go. The first page is the white one. Really good quality paper. Excellent contrast, excellent sharp imagery. It's like I'll call it a matte satin. No, it's actually a satin. They've done a really good job. Just that profile photo is popping off the page. It really is popping. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it looks good. I'm just a bit concerned that in my design I might have put the black frame a bit too close to the edge. I might think about shrinking these images a little bit to give some more white around the edge. But then, you know, when you do that, the problem is your image becomes smaller and smaller, and it is a landscape photography book. Now the next step in the process, we will go to the next step, which is giving the company the rest of the money. So I'm actually really happy with that. There's not a single change that I'm going to make with that. That's absolutely perfect. The next step is to pay the balance of the fees. So I put down 50% to get this single copy here, and then I will approve this via email, and then I'll put through the remaining balance of the invoice, and then printing will start. They'll give me a photo of all the printed stock on pallets, and then they will ship it to me. So guys, stay tuned for the next step in the process. Okay, so the courier has just arrived. Thank you, DHL. Just arrived with the second proof copy. So this is apparently 2 books from the large print, from the 1,000 copies that I have ordered through China. So this is a different printing machine than the first one, okay? Let's have a look and see if they got the colors right. There's a little bit of, I think customs have opened the bubble wrap there. Looks like customs have had a look, because it has been opened here. You can see that. So I think customs have had their way with this, and they've actually torn the edge of the wrapping here. Thanks very much, Customs Australia. And here we have 2 copies. So let's have a look at the reveal. This is going to either make me very happy or I'm going to be very disappointed. They've done a pretty good job. It's looking pretty good. I think they've got the colours pretty bang on. Yeah, the gloss looks good. The colours look true. It's definitely much better than the first book I had done. I don't know what happened to the first book, but they definitely the colours on the first one, in my opinion. This is true to the images that I created. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. So the next step here is basically forking over some cash. I'll pay the final amount of the total, the final half of the total amount, and that will, it's actually been printed already, but I'll approve it to be shipped now, and I'll have 1,000 copies shipped via sea. So stay tuned for the next part of this vlog where the book arrives at the docks in Melbourne. So it's the next day now, and I've had some time to review the book in the daylight, and although I was happy yesterday, I'm not completely happy today, and I'll tell you why. This is the edition of the mass print, so this has come from China, and this is one of 1,000 copies that I've ordered, and those 1,000 copies are now sitting on a pallet in China waiting for my final payment and shipment to Melbourne. Now, the paper is fine, the artwork is fine, but the colours are not. The colours are different than what was sent to me as a digital proof sample. And the supplier in China, and I'll put a link below, the supplier in China said to me, look, you know, we will guarantee that, well, they didn't say guarantee, but they said we will make the mass print the same quality colours as the digital sample. And I said to them, look, her name's Anna, the girl I deal with. I said, look, Anna, just be careful. Last time you said that I received a batch and the colours were not the same. So this time I've had them send me one of the mass print, and I'll put the issues up on screen now. You can see that the blues are not as blue, the magenta is not as strong. The contrast is okay. I will say that last time when I did a batch, the contrast was too strong. The contrast appears to be correct in this one, but the colors are just not true. There's one image I'll put up here now that has a blue sky in the actual image and a blue sky in the digital proof copy, the single copy that they sent me. But the mass print, the 1,000 copies I've had done, the sky is now a purpley color. So I've communicated this to the supplier in China, and I've said to them, look, you know, here's my before and after photos. Here's my comparison photos, and the same photos that you're seeing on screen now. And I said to them, you know, I'm not happy with that. And the supplier came back to me last night with an email that said, look, you know, it's a different printer. It's not going to be the same as the digital proof. And she said, which really frustrated me, she said, the colors are perfect in my opinion. Now, you know, if you can't tell red from pink and blue from purple, and you know, then you've got some issues. So I've sent them an email which I took the time to calm down overnight, and I've sent an email which will actually go out today to say, look, you know, my distributor is not happy with these and they will therefore not sell at marketplace. So you know, what do you plan to do to fix the situation and to continue to ensure that our long-term relationship continues in the future? So I've put it back on them, saying, look, you know, it's not good enough, fix it and come back to me with a solution. And you know, I've dealt with China before, and when it comes to products, and you get what you pay for, as with most things in life. So I'm expecting Anna from the printing house there to come back to me and say, look, there's nothing wrong with the batch, you've got to take it. And you know, it'll probably play out that way, that I'll take it. And the colours are fine. I mean, look, this will sell. It will sell at marketplace, in the shops and online and so forth. But it's, you know, the amount of work that I've put into these images. That's you know, I think 9 years or something worth of images that I put in there. And you know, as a photographer, you give everything. You give your heart and soul. And you know, when I was color correcting these images in Lightroom and Photoshop, I would spend hours and hours on one image, and I'd go back to it and revise it the next day and just tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. So you want your work represented in a book to be true. And you know, I was really upset last night, and you know, I lay down here on the floor and I didn't speak with my wife for like 2 hours, because when I give this to someone, I'm giving them my art, my soul. And you want to give that across and go, look, here's the best I can do at my skill level at the moment. Here's a piece of my soul that you can look at. And when you're giving it across and you're thinking in the back of your mind, you know, it's not really a great print, but you know, it's close enough. It's not the same. You're not communicating your art to someone in its true form. So I know I sound like I'm ranting on like a bit of a troubled artist, but I know all the photographers will agree that you want your prints to be true in colours to what you've designed. So, you know, saying that, I haven't paid for fine art prints. If I was to print this in Melbourne, Australia, this book, which I have done before in a very small batch, they came in at about $60. Now I'm selling them for $70, so that's just not feasible. So you get what you pay for. I am paying for a book printing house in China. They're not specialising in photography fine art prints, so I'm kind of pushing them to do the best they can, and they're really doing the best they can. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, what email comes back to me today from Anna at China 7 Printing Group with their response. I would like to think they would say, you know, we'll do another batch. They have printed 1,000 already, but look, I would like to think they might also say, would you like a refund? But realistically, I can't see either of those two options playing out. So stay tuned, guys. Follow me on the journey, and we'll see what happens next. So here's the truck arriving at my address in Melbourne. You can see it's a standard delivery truck, so there's 2 pallets inside there. An interesting story about freightage or a logistics company is there's always going to be a problem. I've never had a smooth interaction with logistic companies, and the reason is that the shipment gets passed down a chain of command. So I'll be speaking with China initially, and I said, you know, there's no forklift on site. Please ensure that your delivery company can take them off the truck and deliver them to my address. There's no forklift on site, it's a private address. And she said, yeah, that's fine. Then she sells the delivery contract to a local freight company here in Melbourne. Now that freight company, I said to them, hey guys, just a reminder, there's no forklift on site. Please make sure your courier can deliver them. And they're like, yeah, no worries. Now then, so that freight company then sells the contract to this guy, this particular gentleman here who's a courier. And he turns up here and he goes, hey, what do you want to do about these 2 pallets? Have you got a forklift? And I go, no, mate, I've paid a hell of a lot of money for these to be taken off the truck. That's your job. And he goes, well, no, you can speak to your client. And I said, what do you mean my client? You're working for me. I've paid a company who are paying you. And he's like, oh, I don't know about anything about that. So he's disconnected from the responsibility. He's just like, I don't know about that. He wanted to charge me an additional $150 to take these 2 pallets off with the trolley jack and using the automatic tailgate on the back, which would have been an extremely simple operation. But instead it turned into me transporting these books via a wheelie trolley into my storage unit at the back. And here I am transporting these books with flat tires 4 at a time out the back, and it was a hell of a job. So yeah, just a note for you guys, logistic companies are just an absolute pain in the bum. Okay, so it's a pretty physical day here. I've just unloaded 60 boxes of books from the truck, the delivery truck, because he couldn't get into my apartment complex here. I've put 60 boxes in my carport here. Now these 60 boxes have got to go upstairs into my apartment, into a very small apartment, because it's locked down. We can't get to my storage unit, so they're going to go up there for 4 weeks. Then I'm going to bring them back down again, another 60 boxes, and they're going to go into a storage locker. So they're going to have to go up, probably upstairs into a storage locker again. So it's no small job to import your own book, but it is worth it in the end. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys and girls. If you're a photographer and you're considering publishing your own book, then I would say definitely it is worth doing. It's not a cheap exercise. It's definitely going to take a chunk out of your bank account, but it is something that you can look back on in your lifetime and say, yes, I self-published a book. And on the other side of the coin is, if you're a professional or a semi-professional photographer, I think it's important to have your own book. I think it's important that you've got something to give prospective clients and associates, and you can hand out into the marketplace, and people will take you more seriously, particularly if you've got the label 2nd edition, 3rd edition or 4th edition on that book. And look, I know photographers in Melbourne and in Australia that have many books. They have more than one publication, and obviously they're just keeping those publications in a warehouse or in their home, or you can even keep them in Amazon and use Amazon FBA if you want to. But look, my plan is to keep reshooting that same book along with other books as I create them, but with that one book, that Melbourne Through My Lens book, I'll keep reshooting that, and I'll reshoot the same images, obviously with a new skill set, and the images will get stronger and stronger, but I'll also be adding new images and sort of removing older ones that I don't think are relevant anymore and replacing them with new ones. And that book is going to get stronger and stronger as it goes through its editions. So guys, again, I hope you've enjoyed today. If you have any questions, please reach out via the link above or below, and I'm definitely happy to chat with you via email. And if you could please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, that will help me grow this channel. Thank you very much.